has a lot of property. So one is you take that your input and hash it. The hash one property is you cannot do a reverse. With the hash value you cannot get the original document. There is no way at all. So the way that he is attacking it, they generate the dictionary word and then create a hash and they match
No,
it.
I get that. But I was just saying that why is Active Directory then using still hash, not
Encrypt.
encryption?
Yeah, we have to do a decryption.
Yeah,
in order to
hash
get
is
that.
hash is an encrypted way, but
Costly.
that's why you need password cracking to crack the hashes. So that's encrypted, but yeah, so it's a one-way thing.
What is called as the NTLM-v2 hash, right? And this hash cannot be used in parse the hash attacks, but you can use this on John, or you can use Hashcat to crack these hashes. So once you crack these hashes, you can try to see if the same passwords are used in different systems, right? So that is one technique you can use whenever you're pen testing Windows environment. The second, the more cool thing you can do is
Okay, so the first technique I said is you got to. So once I get this hash, it doesn't serve me any purpose unless I
Get the password.
crack the hash, right? Because I cannot use that hash for anything. I have to use John the Ripper. And but if they're using, like, let's say I'm using 50-digit passwords, can I crack it? Or even 20 digits? I cannot crack it. So is this hash worth for me? It's not worth it, right? So now I'm telling you what you can do using the same technique, right? So I'll show you.
do something called SMB relay. So what that does is, once you get this hash, you pass this hash to another system saying, these are the credentials, please authenticate me.
So what I'm doing
So
is,
if
what
this-
is SMB relay? So basically I'm getting this hash, I'm getting it from a user, and I'm using the same hash to pass to a different system in the network. I don't know which system is, but I'm assuming, or I'll find out, that user has access to the server. So I'm just taking this hash and passing onto the server. And if the server thinks I'm authenticated, it will say, okay, you're authenticated to the system. So I'm just passing it. It's called SMB relay. I'm just relaying the hash to the server. So that's what I'm doing here.
This particular hash has access to the target system. The system will be glad to and happy to respond to this hash, and it will give us access to the systems. So that is where we are going to be demonstrating right now. So let me kill this process for now, and let's also remove the database file, because if responder receives that hashes one time, it will skip the second time because it already has the hashes. But to show the demo again, I want to start from scratch. So it is better to delete the database file. And let's create another window here. And let's go to the tools folder. And let's run the multi-relay. This is the tool which we can use.
So this is the tool used for relaying the hashes to another server.
For relaying all the hashes. So let's use this particular command. So it is currently listening and it's ready to relay to any of the servers, right? Actually, I'll take that back. We should be changing the target system.
So this is the
In
target
this case,
system.
we'll be targeting the Windows 7 system. So basically,
you're telling the target, when you get this hash, which system you want to target. So you have to put the IP address. But how will you find that IP address? You have to do the reconnaissance. What are the servers in this lab? I mean, what are the Active Directory? But that user may not have access to the server. But that's when, before even doing this, you need to make sure to find that system, one system.
when you get the request from Windows 10 system, I'm telling to use this credentials or hashes against the Windows 7 system and see if it works.
So I'm using the Windows 10
So
to
for
authenticate to
that,
Windows
you need
7.
to
We
put
could do the same server.
the IP address of the Windows 7 system,
So it uses
which in our case
protocol,
is
like,
210.
No, it just uses the hashes, right? I mean, it just is command. I mean, like
Okay, now it is running, and
So it's using SFTP connection or FTP connection to the server.
And it is ready to-
no, it's not FTP. It's
It's
just how you authenticate. Like when you put like backpack and then server name, it lasts for username password, right?
Oh,
so
so
it's just
that's
like
what it is.
getting a shell access. Yeah, it's not using any of those protocols.
Okay.
Waiting for responder to pass the hash to this
So now
particular
multi-relay
service.
is running.
So before that, if you watch carefully, it tells us that this tool listens on port 80, 3128 and 445. So you need to turn these services on the responder, otherwise there will be a conflict of services. So let's go to the config file. And let's turn this SMB
That's because multi-relay is already running
On.
those services, so you cannot have the same service.
and also the
different
HTTP.
tools. So you have to turn it off.
Okay, and now let's run the same attack which we did before using Python responder on the default with the default parameters. So I'll just move this a bit. So I'm going to run this and I'm going to keep this in focus. And now I'm just going to go to the Windows 10 system and do the
So I'm
same
using
thing.
Windows
I'm
10
going to try to
to
go
pass
to the
to Windows
server
7.
which is not in the network. So which will pass the hash to our Kali Linux box, which in turn will relay the hashes to the Windows 7 systems. Thereby, if the exploit is successful, we'll get a shell from the Windows 7 systems.
So you can also pass it to the server.
So you can type anything, even the IP address should work. Okay, once you do that, let's go back to the Kali box. And if you look here, we got a shell, a command prompt. And if you type the IP address,
So you got a Windows command prompt.
so it
on the
is
other system.
210.
You don't even know a password or anything.
So
You
if
just
you
got
look
it.
here, so we are currently owning a shell on the 210 box, which is the Windows 7 box. So if you think about this, we kind of exploited the whole network without knowing any passwords. And this is one of the most effective techniques used by most pen testers in a Windows environment. And I would say 80 to 90% of the time this works because this LLMNR protocols is not turned off by default on most Windows networks, as it is required for Windows systems to communicate seamlessly with other systems. So this is also really cool. If I go help, this multi-relay tool comes up with a bunch of minor utilities which you can use. So you can scan the network on /24 or /16 to find other
You want to finish
hosts
this? It'll be over, or you after this?
It's a
Yeah, well, let's finish this video and take a quick break.
that are reachable from this network. But what is cool is you can also dump the password hashes.
So now I'm on the
from the
Windows 7
systems.
box.
Or even cool is you can use
Mimikatz is already built into that.
Mimi-Coffee, right? Which
It's
is
called
Mimikatz to dump clear text passwords from memory. So let's do this, and it's uploading some kind of a binary to the target system, and we can do.
I did Mimikatz, it uploaded something to the Windows 7 because this is all we're doing without even knowing any passwords, right?
So you can do something called Mimi secure LSA log on passwords.
What is it? Mimi secure login password?
Yeah, I mean it's a command. Just
So
have to
if
type
you
this
look and
command.
see, it is dumping all the clear text passwords from the LSAS memory on this Windows 7 box. So in
You see
this
that
case,
password?
I'm using
I
a
got
password
password
called
from
password1, and the user is user, and it's the domain xclaris.
So which one uses
And
clear text
if you keep
password?
on using this
Which one?
password,
Which protocols uses stores the memory in the clear text?
LSAS. LSAS is running on all your Windows systems. If you look at it, that is, if you look at right click and go to Task Manager and look at all the processes running, it's called LSAS, and that has all the clear text passwords in that one process.
Oh, so
But you
it's-
cannot just dump it and then find it. You have to do the decryption. That's what this Mimikatz tool is doing. So that's why Mimikatz became so popular, because it's able to pass through the memory, take that pointers where it is, and then it's able to decrypt for us. So in this one, just to summarize, it got the hash from Windows 10, passed on to Windows 7, so you got authenticated to Windows 7, and then you can do the same thing to any other server. I'm just showing this Windows 7. I could have done that to Active Directory, or I could have done it to the server, and if I use the Mimikatz, and if I was successful with Active Directory, I won't get just one password. I'll get whoever logged on to
Active
it.
Directory has the two-factor authentication, can you connect?
No, you can. Two-factor doesn't help with these hash things.
Yeah.
Two-factor helps only for initial logon, password, and brute force attacks.
Right,
But once you're in session, it won't work. Yeah, I mean, this is going to work.
Oh, so that with Active Directory, every user who log in, you get
All the clear text password from the system.
Oh yeah. That's
But in Windows 2016, you will get only hashes, but still you can use pass the hash techniques and things like that in exploit.
Yeah,
But
once you
Windows 10
exfiltrate those, you just crack them later.
So now
No,
you
but,
see that.
even let's say you install the respondent in local, you're in your enterprise network,
Mhm.
even though you without any logon credentials, how can you get the password hashes from Active Directory?
You cannot. You have to pass. So now I got one password,
Okay.
right? So now I will. That's the next tool I was about to show, and I'll be done for today. So we get one password, right? Now I take this one password. Now I don't have to be in a local network, right? Because I can see whatever systems I can see in the whole network. If I scan the whole network, this tool will work only on the local network, which is the same network, because it works on the broadcast protocol. Once I get this password, in many cases we'll get 2-3 passwords. We'll use this username and password, and I will put the whole network into and I'm going to say, hey, go search the whole network, which systems uses the same password, login and password. I'll get at least 1 or 2 hits. Then I will log on to that system, dump the passwords from that system, and then I'll go from. That's the repetitive process. So we will try to
go
go
to those systems, get passwords if they have something else from
stored in memory. I mean,
So
we
you're
try to
kind
use
of
Mimikatz. What is it?
You're kind of spawning.
That's what you do. It's a process. You try to go from it. They call pivoting, right? You pivot from one system to another system. You dump from one password from there. Now I collection of 3 passwords, right? Now I use that password to log on to see how many accesses it has, how many users. Because if you take a server, many users log on to a server. 10 users, 15 users. If you have an IIS server, all help desk people logged on. If help desk people, domain controller people logged on to my Windows workstation, that password is going to be clear text. So I will see that in clear text, right here. And many times it happens, trust me.
so it won't be in hashes.
It won't be in hashes. It will be in clear text on your system.
So when it will be in hashes and when it will be in clear text?
Windows 2012 is good. It will be in hashes. Windows 7 you can get in clear text. Windows 10 you will get only hashes. But still you can use the hash to pass the hash. So it's not a big deal. Because this hash you're seeing here, this SHA-1 hash, NTLM hash, that you can use for pass the hash. It's not the same as the other one. These hashes you can use to pass the hash attacks.
Okay.
So you will not see clear text on Windows 10. If I did the Mimikatz, the password won't be in clear text, but you'll still get these hashes here.
So now I can pass the hash.
Pass the hash there.
How do I prevent this?
Not easy, but I'll show you the document from Microsoft. It's a whole set of process. You got to use separation of networks. User space should be separate from server space, and Active Directory should be its own space. And like I said, anyone from a local down layer shouldn't be able to log on to any of the upper layer systems. You have to do a policy saying no one should log on to these systems from the network. Those are easily GPOs. They call it the GPOs, Group Policy Objects on the Active Directory. So you can protect those things.
Once those rules are set up, does the, like if help desk is provisioning a new user, is it more complicated from like a setup perspective or a level 1 perspective?
No, I mean that's the
Once the rules are in place, they're
they're good. I mean that's the best way to go, but it will take some time to get there.
Right.
But once they do that, I think it's good.
Different networks, you can go all the way to the domain admin. It is possible to get the domain admin credentials as well. You can also see interesting NTLM.
You didn't show that cracking the hash here?
No, I'm not showing crack because, like I said,
Okay, you're
it's
using-
not needed, right? Because if we do crack the hash, but again, I have to, show hashcat and stuff, but you can still use a multi-relay and then pass the hash. But it's easy. I mean, you can take that NTLM V2. Let's say maybe you can do that. But it's just hashcat. Hashcat is pretty simple tool to use. They have a number for each kind of hash.
Basically, when you the reason why I'm asking the password to get the password, for example, you can connect VPN from external to internal network, right? Instead of if you're internal, it's fine. If you're in outside world and you want to get in, so that you can use the password to connect, right? Application.
That's right. I mean, externally, it becomes a challenge, right? It won't work against external. This technique is not going to work against external.
That's why if you know the password, username and password, and then you can use that password to.
Yeah, if you're doing both together, then I mean internal external pen testing, then you can use this password against external network to see if they're using it. But again, like I said, it's all your thought process, creativity, and I mean what is required. So each engagement for me is different, right? So this works good for internal pen testing, right?
Hashes, which we can use in pass the hash or pass the ticket kind of attacks, which I will show you a little later. So one other thing I wanted to show you is, let's exit out. So there is another tool called Runfinger, which is right here. This attack works only if SMB is disabled on the target system. So you may want to run this tool before you find a good target systems where SMB is disabled.
But how would you know where it's disabled?
That's what I'm going to show you.
Okay.
So that's why you run this tool on all the local systems and find out a system where it's all disabled, and then you run. That will be a target system. So if it's not target, you cannot run it.
So let me run this whole subnet.
SMB should be disabled. But Windows 2012, I think it's enabled by default. I'm not sure. I don't know if I did it or in this one it is.
No, till SMB1, right? You're talking about, right?
What is it?
SMB1, right? Enabling SMB.
No. SMB1?
No, in Windows, any Windows, they don't disable by default SMB. Maybe the SMB1, the recent version of operating system.
Yeah, SMB2. Yeah, the SMB1 it will still work. When I say it's 2, let's see what it comes back.
Okay. So this is you are trying to find out which host is.
So by default,
SMB signing. I'm
controller,
sorry, that's what I was confused. I was thinking for the keyword. SMB signing, because when I said RDP, this is what is important. SMB signing is disabled by most systems.
Okay.
So SMB signing is what that encrypts between the RDP protocols and things like that.
Has SMB signing as true. So this attack won't work against the domain controller, but it should work on the Windows 7 and Windows 10, also the Windows 2012 system where SMB turning is.
And most companies
SMB
also
sign.
go to this Windows 2012 servers or 2016 and disable it manually because it will break some backward compatibility. Because if you have a Windows 7 system on the network and if you have a server which is newer, it won't work together. For backward, or even if you have a Windows XP systems on the network or Linux systems on the network, for all the systems to work together, the SMB causes some issues. So they will send a GPU to disable those things. So most of the time you'll be lucky on all these servers it will be disabled. So you can use this pass the hash, pass the thing on all many systems.
So this is a nice little utility which you can use before trying to exploit any of the target systems. I think that wraps.
So before we'll take a short break and we'll come back and do one more thing and I'll be done for today.
So that's it. SMB. So once you find out what to do then with SMB sign.
You have to enable that for to product. There is no. Let me go to this article. To the way to fix this is your question, right?
Now, since the SMB signing is true or false, now next step, what you do now? You try.
No, I did it right because I showed you it will work only on the systems where it is disabled.
Oh.
That's why I picked the Windows 7 system. It was disabled there.
Got it.
I didn't choose the Windows server. But in a production environment, most of the time you also see a lot of servers. And the way to fix it, it is simple, but many companies, trust me, they cannot fix it. It's very hard to fix this issue. So this attack will be easily accessible for many networks.
Legacy systems.
So there is a link in the bottom which shows you how to protect against that. It's actually pretty simple. This article is a good one. So you have to turn off LLMNR and NetBIOS protocols, which again, I can say it easily. There's no way many companies can do that. Because many companies, it is possible to work without those things, but it's going to break a lot of communication. Because every company like you asked works on NetBIOS protocol. NetBIOS cannot be turned off by default. So if LLMNR is turned off, this tool will switch to a NetBIOS protocol. So both are broadcast protocols. So it will work one or the other, right? And so it shows you how to disable NetBIOS. The problem with NetBIOS is there is no GPO policy to send it to all systems. It has to be done on each and every system.
Locally.
But LLMNR, there is a policy to send it to all systems. So you can easily disable that. But NetBIOS is a pain for many companies. It's a local change. They have to change the registry on all the systems. But again, it can be done in an automated way, but still many companies can't do that. And let's do one more small thing. And, it's a good article to read. Just search for Microsoft Parse the Hash, and you can download this. It's like a 100-page document, but it's awesome. It walks you step by step how to protect against that. It's a very good article. You learn a lot from this. Just like it'll talk about the password, like I told you, about hashing, how it passes, and how is attackers using the hash attacks, and how to protect against that. It's a very good article.
We're getting past the hash.
Yeah, you just do Microsoft Parse the Hash again. There are two articles. I start with the first one. First one is more theory. Second one is how to.
We can download, read both.
What is it? Oh yeah.
Download and read both.
Yeah, you have to read both because one is the remediation and one is the theory. Is first you need to know the theory behind how do you fix it. It's 82 pages. It's not bad actually. It's a nice font. Good article.
How much you read?
So you look at the contents. I mean, it's so you will understand a lot about the Windows thing too. I mean, if you read this one article, you will learn a lot. Than from any book or any other thing. And also the other one, right? So this is one article I wanted to show you. Another one is what was I saying? Microsoft. What is it called? They call it the
Protecting the hash.
it's called Labs or something like that.
RD.
Oh, Privileged Access Workstation. No, it's not privileged.
VI, right? Privileged.
No, it's.
Yeah.
So this is what Microsoft is recommending, which is again a good tool. So PAS, they call it the PAS, Privileged Access Workstation. It's a service.
Yeah.
So this is a good, I don't know if you guys go to like channel 9, MSDN, right? So there's a video, they'll show you how to set these things, the PAS, to manage Active Directory and other systems, how to do help desk support for the Windows client stations. They'll talk about those issues too. Anyway, let's any questions? We can take a short break and we'll come back and do one more small session. It'll be a very short. I'll just show you one other tool and then I don't know what's in the afternoon. Who's coming? Do you know?
We have cloud, I think 5.
Today?
Yeah, I think so.
Someone is coming for guest or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 guys are coming.
Okay, and then afternoon I'll be gone though, but yeah, I'll come back next week and I thought it's next week we'll do some social design stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think we still have to do the cloud security and GASP.
Yeah, cloud security I'm not the guy because I don't know anything about cloud. But again, the same principles we talk applies to cloud. It's not rocket science. You still have to do scanning, you still have to do reconnaissance, there are still passwords, there are data at rest, so how do you encryption? So the same concepts apply for all these things. When it comes to cloud, the only thing you need to pay attention is if you go to AWS or Azure, they already have some solutions, right? But are the companies implementing or using those things to encrypt the data? So that is So it is not like anything different than what you've been learning. It's the same
They
thing.
have to do the same thing in their data.
Same thing, same encryption. I mean, it boils down to like how they're protecting the data, how they're protecting the private keys and things like that. So it's once you get into the mentality of thinking in a different way, then I mean, security, it'll all come together. So the next tool I wanted to show you was CrackMap.exe. That's one thing I'll show you and I'll leave. It's a nice tool. Like I said, I showed you, I'll capture one username and password, right? So that tool is like Swiss Army knife of Active Directory attacks. So you can use it one tool. Again, it's very simple to download. And you just give the network range or an IP address and give the username and password. It will go tell whether it's authenticated or not. So you can put like a whole subnet.
Oh, okay.
And it will go to all systems and authenticate and tell you in 1 second which all system have access to that.
Okay.
So,
Issuing wireless hacking,
which one?
wireless pen testing, wireless network,
What is about wireless?
Wi-Fi network. How do we hack a wireless network?
Again, that's a whole topic, but it's not hard. But if you have a complex password, it's not easy to hack. But the easiest way to hack is having a spoofed network.
Yeah.
So basically, like I said, it's similar to DHCP attack, V6 attack. I will, instead of attacking the password of wireless systems, I bring a system and I launch it as that particular access point, the same name, and I'll make users connect to me, and then I'll wait for the management attack. So I don't have to crack the existing one because it's not going to work. Unless you have a very simple password, it's not easy to crack a wireless password. But that said, many companies use less than 10-digit Wi-Fi passwords, right? And it's easy to crack. In your home networks, they will give a default password. That is kind of difficult to hack, but again, you don't have to go to hacking. I mean, you can just use like a spoofed Wi-Fi network to attack at clients. So Wi-Fi is, again, it's a broad thing, but that is what used by many attackers too. I mean, you can easily exploit. This responder will work on that. So that's what I do too. So for example, let's say you're not in the local network, okay? You can go to your company posted network and you can broadcast a Wi-Fi network, okay? Then let's say a lot of users are connecting to your Wi-Fi. Then run a responder. So you will get all the hashes from the wireless network,
Oh,
right? I mean, that's how you can do that. So we don't have to crack my existing Wi-Fi networks. I just go there, run this, put a spoofed network, and you can easily make the users connect to you. For example, I mean, this will also work. The cool thing with this, think about it, is very, very serious.
But for the spoof network, I have to bring down the existing.
No, you don't have to. You can have to. It depends on whoever's strength is more. It'll connect to those things. So think about this power of this. So any of your laptops, your work laptops, how many of you take your work laptops to Starbucks and work? Or airports and work? Everyone. So what's happening? Your systems are all already, I mean, you asked the question, right? Everything is what? Already authenticated, and what is stored in the system? You already put in the login name. What is stored already in the number?
Yeah, password.
Not the password. What is it stored?
Yeah.
Password is never stored clear text in the system.
Okay.
The hashes.
Hashes.
Okay. So let's say you use spoof network on a Starbucks or airport, and people are connecting to you, and you are providing internet access. It's easy to set up. Easy to set up a cloned or any spoofed Wi-Fi network. So you are running the Wi-Fi network on Starbucks and airport, and then let's say your work laptops are going there. And if you're running responder, you will get all the hashes. The computer doesn't know what you're trying to authenticate it to. It will send the same hash like we saw to your attacker system. You don't have to be in the company network to get that hash. You can be anywhere. Since the hashes are stored in your system, that system is going to pass the hash. It's going to say that's the password hash I have. It will send it to responder. You're going to see the hash. But you cannot authenticate because you have the same network. But what do you have with you after that time? The hash, which you can do what with it? No, crack it, right? So you can send it to the cloud service and hack it. Once you have that, then you can go to the company and then you can do that too. So that attack responder will not just work on local network. It will just work on any Wi-Fi networks too. So it will attack all the clients. How many of you have Windows system here?
Everybody.
Pretty much.
You are all connected to the same Wi-Fi?
I was thinking,
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. I mean, I'm not going to use it, don't worry. But
It's the same password for all of us, right?
not the. I don't care about the Wi-Fi because we're all connected to the same
should we
Wi-Fi.
all get Mac?
What is it? No, Mac.
Yeah.
You get the Mac's hashes too.
Okay, you can get the Mac hashes. I'm just thinking.
Okay, I'm connected. Let me launch my Wi-Fi. I don't know if I have it on this system.
Do you know of any good policy design references for that aspect of laptop security for corporate?
No, I mean the only way you can fix it is disabling the LLM and NetBIOS. The only way to fix that issue for the responder cell attacks.
On a technical side, on a policy side, whereas you've been issued this laptop, employee company X,
Don't use it here and there.
please don't do it here, XYZ. Just
That comes to the Wi-Fi. Yes, we don't have any policies, but the only way to fix that is, I think I mentioned this last time. You have to keep cleaning that. See, how does Wi-Fi connects to the Wi-Fi access points? How does it connect?
Retains the password.
That's one thing, but still it keeps, that is in your profile. All the systems you connect, Wi-Fi networks you connect to the past, it is stored in your computer.
Right.
So every time you go to some place, it keeps, but your computer is already, that's why, that's good thing is if you use Wireshark, you'll see that.